First time I ever painted was when I had to paint numbers on sheeps, and then I stole the cans from the farm and went into a barn and started painting like walls secretly until my granddad found out, and then he told me off very, very, very badly. And I was grounded basically from painting ever again. But now it's kind of funny because it's my job, so they can kind of see that they should have just allowed me to do it. I would have been much better by now. When I used to work on the farm, I used to earn a tiny bit of money each week, and I saved that money and would buy comics. Started realising who my favourite artists were, and I started copying how they drew things. From that point, kept drawing and drawing in their style. One of the first people that I actually fell in love with was Jamie Hewlett, who did Tank Girl and then The Gorillaz. And I used to try and do comics in his style, and I think that's kind of stuck in how I draw. It's amazing to see that people actually look at a picture of mine and enjoy it. I just draw from what's in my head and hope that it will resonate and somebody will enjoy it. And sometimes ideas just jump into my head and I have to draw them, and I just draw silly ideas and then I'll expand on them. My process is very sporadic. There's no rhyme or reason half the time why I draw. Work that I do, which is just for myself and my audience, is just to do something that they'll enjoy. I'm the biggest critic of my work, and I think many artists are. I come from a farming background, so my grandparents, my parents never thought that there was money in art at all. I was always under the impression that like Van Gogh, you'd have to die before you would start like making money from artwork. But it was a hobby. I was a drummer. I was drumming in lots and lots of different punk and ska bands and a couple of pop bands. One of the bands that I'd actually been in, I'd drawn the album cover, and then somebody had asked if I could draw their album cover, and that was probably one of the first times that I think they gave me about 50 quid, but back in the day, that was loads of money. I could buy so many comics, it was crazy. That's kind of when I started thinking, wait a minute, there's potential in this. I could actually pursue art, so I worked in a factory for about a year, earned as much money as I could, went to college, then went to university, and in about 2006 when I graduated from university, I started doing occasional bit of artwork for different companies, and it just started building, and yeah, it got to a point where I didn't have to have a second job and I didn't have to worry about money. People were just paying me to paint walls and doing comics and things like that. I'm never going to be 100% happy with anything that I do, so I'm always pushing myself to be better than I am. The next load of paintings that I'm working on at the moment are going to be very light theory, very detailed and slightly different, and hopefully people will enjoy that. Think of an idea, make a story about it, and then produce the artwork. When I'm totally different to that. I will start just doodling on a piece of paper and it will turn into something. And there's no rhyme or reason behind what I draw. Best advice I could give any artist is to come up with your own style and to work stupidly hard. I know my style is very similar to, say, Jamie Hewlett or Philip Bond or Glyn Dillon, but it's because I grew up with them artists and I've taken some of their style with me, but my stuff is very different from theirs when you compare it nowadays. Back in the day I was very, very similar to, say, the Gorillaz, but I've expanded and realised that I can't just copy somebody else, so you have to come up with your own style, and it takes ages. And you can start off by being a copy of some artists, but you have to start not looking at their artwork and doing it out of your own head, and you can use the way that they draw certain things to influence how you draw certain things, which is exactly what I've done. But I've just worked really, really hard to get my own style down, and now I know that people can see my artwork and they'll know instantly that it's mine. Like, random people have taken photos of something that I've done on the street in some country, London, Japan, China, America, and people have taken a photo of it, and then somewhere along the way, somebody has like messaged me and said, "That's your artwork, isn't it?" So they can see my style in what I do. So yeah, the other thing is obviously just work really hard, because you can't sit down and do nothing and expect it all to fall into your lap. I've worked for like 11 years now, pushing my own path, and it is every single day draw, every single day come up with something new. Some days there is no inspiration, and you do sit there looking at a blank piece of paper and you realise it's, you start at 8, it's 5 o'clock and you've drawn nothing, but you've looked at a blank piece of paper all day. Them sort of times you kind of have to take a step back and do something else. Like for me, I practice drumming or do some music, and it kind of, when I'm doing that, it relaxes my brain of like drawing,